Hi guys, here's your Algebra 2 semester exam. I want you to make sure you pay very close attention to the problems that I circled. Those are the ones I would like for you to complete. So let's get started. Also, I would do my work on another sheet of paper. It's not exactly like there's a whole lot of room here to do your work, okay? So for questions 4, 5, and 6, we just simplify order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. PEMDAS. Okay? Or you can plug them right into the calculator as long as you use grouping symbols just like they do there. And to do the exponent, remember on your calculator, you would want to hit the little caret key and then to the third power like that. In numbers 7 through 10, we're going to evaluate the expression given values of x and y. So here's a number for x, here's a number for y. Simply plug them in and see what answer you get. And again, I highly recommend that when you're using your calculator, every time you plug in a value for a variable, so like 2 times instead of x, we're going to say 2 times 3, use parentheses. Okay, minus 4 times, that'd be negative 2. Okay? Okay, moving on. 11, 12, and 13. Here you are to combine like terms and simplify. So you're not going to get a one-numbered answer. On problems like number 11, it's pretty simple. But now, if I want to zoom into like 12 and 13, remember, I would use shapes to talk about my like terms, something like that. That helps me define who needs to go with whom. Remember, that's a 1 in front of that z. But combine your terms. Just do what the signs tell you. 15 and 16. We want you to tell us what is the domain, which is always the x values, and the range, which is always the y's. Okay? So who are the x values, who are the y values in 15 and 16? Number 17, I want you to graph this function. So basically, you're just graphing the line. So identify who's the m and who's the b, and then graph it. Remember, when you graph, always do the b first. So let's just say my b is 2. That means I put a dot on 2. If my m is a negative 1 over 2, it means I'm going to go down 1 and over 2 for a new point. And there I have graphed the function. Okay? So that's what you're doing on number 17. Number 19, you need to find the slope that goes between these 2 points and tell us if it's a rise, a fall, if it's a horizontal or vertical line. Remember, you're going to use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Make sure you label your points too. Like that. Plug them in. Be careful with the signs. Okay, in number 21 and 22, it's worded all different. They want you to find the average rate of change in relative of y to x. Okay, in not math dummy terms, okay, what that simply means is we're going to use this formula here to find the slope between these 2 points. So again, make sure you label them x1, y1, x2, y2. Plug them into this formula and tell us what the rate of change is, which is basically the slope. In number 24, you write the equation of a line. They give you the m, they give you the b, you need to plug it into y equals mx plus b. That's all you have to do. Okay, now to the back. Let's look at number 27. Question, we're looking at this here graph, and looking at the dots on this graph, would you say that this is a positive correlation, a negative correlation, or no correlation? And explain. Give us a sentence why you wrote the answer that you did. Number 28, you're to graph the system or solve the system by graphing. So all you need to do is graph these two lines. Okay, so remember you got your coordinate plane. Identify the M and the B. I do want to caution you. Right here, that'd be 5x plus 0. So plot the B first, and then your slope, up or down. Remember, that's a 1 over 1 right there. And where the two lines cross, what is the x, y coordinates? (32) and 33, we're going to solve these by combination. We want to figure out what x and y are. We did this a while back. I'm going to multiply this whole thing by -2 to every term. So now I'm going to rewrite it underneath the bottom one. You have -4x minus 6y equals -4. These will zero out, and you need to combine the y's in a constant number, solve for y. And once you solve for y, plug it back into one of these two equations and solve for the x. And then make sure you write your answer again as an ordered pair. Same concept on number 32. All right, only difference is we've got to do a little bit more multiplying here. We're going to change both equations. All right, I'm going to multiply this one by 2. I'm sorry, not by 2. Back that up. Multiply this by 5. And this one by 4. Okay? So distribute and multiply him through to everybody. Same way in the top. You're going to get two new equations. You're going to eliminate the y's, plug it back in, and solve for the x. 34, 35, 36. These are bonus, but they're easy. So plug these in. This is your x, y, and z coordinate. Plug them in for each one of these, all right? And work out the whole left side. If you get 4, that's good. But they got to work in all three equations. So this one would have to be -6 equals -6. This would have to be -3 equals -3. If it works, then yes, it's a solution. If it doesn't, then you say no. Give them a shot. Not too hard. 37, 38, 39, you were going to graph the compound inequality. So what that simply means is you're just going to look, make a number line, and let's say I had -2 is greater than x, which is less than +2. So here's my -2. He'd be an open circle. Here's 2. He would also be open. Then you read it. I read it from the middle out. So start with the x. X, he's greater than -2. So greater numbers are going to go this way. And the other one, x is less than 2, he's going to go that way. Okay? That's what your graph should look like for 37 and 38 because the x is in the middle. 39, it's two separate problems. Okay? So these guys should go out like boat oars because it's an or problem. 40 and 41, you're going to graph the inequality. So again, this is just like graphing a line. All right, identify the B and the M, and then determine if it's a solid line or a dashed line, and are you shading above the line or below the line? Okay, so remember, if it's a sign like that, they're dashed. If it's a sign like this, whoops, turn that dude around, like that, then it's a solid line. Okay? you have a question, ask. And number 45, the last one you have to do, you're going to tell whether this 2, -1, these points, x and y, plug them in for x and y, and work it out. Does this side less than -3? And is this side greater than 7? If it satisfies and works in both of them, then it's a solution. Otherwise, no. And that is the end of your semester exam. Congratulations. Have a great Christmas break.